Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're in the kitchen again this evening, and today we're going to make biscuits, but not just any biscuits. We're going to make sour cream drop biscuits. So these easy to make and yet really savory biscuits have a nice flaky and light texture. If you serve them warm from the oven with a little bit of butter melted on them, you're going to be really pleased. They're quite delicious. So let's get started. First, I need a fork, which I forgot. Now I have a fork. You're going to need a fork, and you want a 1/4 cup of some kind of fat. You can use shortening, you can use butter, you can even use margarine. It doesn't really matter, whatever you have that works for you. Kind of just give that a little smash with your fork, and then we're going to start adding our other ingredients. Okay, we're going to add 2 cups of flour. Okay. Give it a mix. Mix after each addition, just because you want this crumbly. So if we kind of mix after each addition, it'll get a little crumbly before we add our liquids. Here we go. We are going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm using brown sugar, but you can use any sugar actually. You can use white sugar or dark brown sugar, whatever you like. Just anything to counteract the really tartness of the sour cream that we're going to add at the end. There we go. We want 3 teaspoons of baking powder, not soda. We want baking powder. This gives the biscuits their lift. Okay, it's their leavening agent. Without that, they won't rise at all. Okay. We want 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That just kind of unifies our flavors. I know it's not enough salt to taste it, but there is a difference. It unifies and enhances your flavors. Even when you don't actually taste the salt, it's still doing its job. Okay, now we want to add 2/3 of a cup of milk. Okay, and we also want to add, just give me a second to grab it. We want to add 2/3 of a cup of sour cream. Okay? You can always do that and splash milk everywhere. It's fun. We like splashing milk. Okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I just got sour cream on my finger. Don't worry about that either. So now we're going to mix this up with our fork. Okay, we're not going to worry about it too much. Remember, this is a drop biscuit. Okay? So we do want it a little more wet than a biscuit that you roll out. And you don't want to overmix this. So treat drop biscuits a little bit like muffins. You don't want to overmix them because part of their texture is in not being super smooth. Okay, so you want all of this incorporated, but you don't necessarily want to have a whole bunch of smoothness happening. Okay, so you want it kind of chunky, but you want everything incorporated. So use your fork and scrape off the edges of your bowl. Okay, and fold it over itself a few times, but don't mix until it's smooth. Okay, now we're going to need a pan, a cookie sheet. Now you can put a liner on your cookie sheet. You can spray it with cooking spray. You can use some parchment paper. Whatever you do to make your pan non-stick, you should definitely do, because we're going to need that. And I also forgot a spoon. Okay, I got my scoop. So here's where you have to decide how big you want your biscuits. So I like a decent sized biscuit. So I like to take about like that, about that much, and pop that on my pan. Try to keep them kind of sort of neat, though it doesn't really matter. Whatever you like. So you can make really big biscuits, you can make really small biscuits. You can make a variety. So if you want some big ones for most of your family and then some little ones because you've got some kids coming, that's okay. There we go. So, you know, I'm making kind of a couple of different sizes here. It doesn't really matter. As long as they're not completely huge, it doesn't matter. Okay? If they're completely huge, they'll might take a little longer to bake. So don't make them so big that they're crazy. Okay, ideally you want to get between 6 and 12 biscuits out of this recipe, depending on how big you want them. Now you can really smell the sour cream in this. When you are picking a sour cream, you want to pick a full fat version. Don't go with a light sour cream. They don't bake up very well. And for best results, I would use butter. But like I said, you can use anything. It's totally okay to use something else. I'm just going to make a nice tiny one for the doggies as well. Okay? There we go. Nice little one for the doggies. And that is my oven preheating. So you do want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. If you haven't baked biscuits before, I know that'll sound a little bit high, but it's really not. It's actually pretty standard for a biscuit to bake at that temperature. So there we go. I did 8 biscuits. They don't have to be perfectly round. So if you want, you can go around and kind of make them perfectly round if you like, but you don't have to do that because they'll look kind of cool anyway. So we're going to put them in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Check them at 10 minutes, but you might want to leave them till 12. It kind of depends on how dark you want your biscuits. So we'll pop them in the oven and then we'll come back and see how they did. And there we have it. Beautiful, soft, flaky, and very light sour cream drop biscuits. Now these are excellent for breakfast. They're excellent at the dinner table. Whatever you like, you can use them for. You can make them bigger or smaller depending on your own personal preference and how many people you have eating that night. So I hope you enjoyed making sour cream drop biscuits with us here tonight. I hope you will try these at home. They're really very easy, and probably you have all the ingredients that you need in your cupboard and in your fridge. That's about it for us tonight at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.